Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing, Inc.
A new legislative body elected in Venezuela amid violence and the threat of sanctions. That's our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Monday, July 31. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Nicole Best. Good evening. Violence marred voting in Sunday's election of a new legislative body in Venezuela that will be tasked with reforming the country's constitution. At least 24 people are said to have been killed, including a candidate, a soldier, and 2 teenagers. Opposition parties boycotted the polls, which they said was aimed at consolidating President Nicolas Maduro's power. Scuffles broke out as security forces moved in to disperse anti-Maduro activists and demonstrators who had put up roadblocks. Sunday's vote created a constituent assembly or temporary parliament that can not only rewrite the constitution but will also have the power to dissolve state institutions such as the opposition-run Congress and dismiss dissident state officials. One activist in Venezuela is describing the election as fraudulent. According to Feliciano Reina, the number of people whom officials said had voted was fabricated. And he said the voting process did not go according to the regulations.
Guarantees for voting were all completely changed. As the head of the council said, anyone could vote anywhere without using all the proper mechanisms, again, to guarantee that voting would be done accordingly to the rules. Plus, the press was not allowed in to verify, what was happening, even in at least in certain centers which were completely under control of the military. And at the end, the number just, it was known ahead that they would inflate the numbers. But what the National Electoral Council came with was absolutely absurd.
Well, the United States has announced that it will institute new sanctions against Venezuela following the vote. The Donald Trump administration said they could be imposed as early as Monday and would likely target Venezuela's oil sector, including possibly its state-owned petroleum company. Last week, the U.S. imposed sanctions on more than a dozen senior, current and former Venezuelan officials. Meanwhile, President Maduro is claiming victory following the election. Addressing a crowd of supporters after the voting was complete, he mocked U.S. criticism that the vote was an affront to democracy. He said, and I quote, "A spokesperson for Emperor Donald Trump said that they would not recognize the results of Venezuela's Constituent Assembly election. Why should we care what Trump says? We care about what the sovereign people of Venezuela say." End of quote. Maduro says the new Constituent Assembly will begin to govern within a week and will use its powers to bar opposition candidates from running in gubernatorial elections in December if they do not sit with his party to negotiate an end to hostilities. Maduro rose to power in 2013 after the death of his mentor Hugo Chavez, and his presidency has been dotted with opposition protests over its legitimacy. Over in Jamaica, the main opposition People's National Party on Sunday elected former Mayor of Kingston, Dr. Angela Brown Burke, to succeed former Prime Minister and opposition leader Portia Simpson Miller as member of the Parliament for the constituency of St. Andrews Southwest. Brown Burke, who is also a vice president of the party, secured 595 votes to Audrey Smith Facey's 502. Based on the outcome of the selection exercise, Brown Burke will be the PNP's candidate to contest the upcoming by-election. Simpson Miller, the longest-standing representative for St. Andrews Southwest, recently retired from politics. Following the selection exercise of her successor, she bade farewell to the constituency, but she warned Brown Burke that she would be keeping a close eye on the constituency.
You're not going to be losing me. I will keep in touch with what is happening. And if Angela joke, when I finish with her, she will want to run away. For 40 years, you have loved me, you have supported me, and I want to say to you, thank you. God bless you for your love and your support. And so from time to time, I'll come knocking at some of your gate to ensure that Angela is treating you like how Portia treated you.
Brown Burke is expected to announce her resignation as a senator and conciliator after Prime Minister Andrew Holness announces the date for the by-election. And she says her chances of winning would have been extremely difficult without Simpson Miller's support.
I think it would have been extremely difficult without Mrs. Simpson Miller's endorsement for a number of reasons. The other candidate is a sitting councillor, and so certainly in her division she would have quite a bit of strength. She was constituency secretary before as well, so she knows people around. So it would have been difficult. Many persons don't know me as closely as you would want at this time. But can I tell you that I would not have wanted to do it without her endorsement, that is for sure.
A defense and security strategy has been implemented by security officials in the Dominican Republic as they prepare for the departure of the United Nations peacekeeping force, MINUSTA, from neighboring Haiti. According to Defense Minister Lieutenant General Ruben Dario Paulino, the armed forces have also installed cameras at the most strategic checkpoints in order to boost vigilance along the border. Paulino said the Dominican military and police authorities had held talks with the head of police in Haiti and with the chief of MINUSTA. He also disclosed that Haiti's chief of defense would be visiting the Dominican Republic next week to give details of the process underway in Haiti with the end of the peacekeeping mission and the steps to be followed. In April, the UN Security Council decided to Resolution 2350 that MINUSTA would close on October 15, transition into a smaller follow-up peacekeeping mission. Police in the Turks and Caicos have launched a manhunt for gunmen who shot a prominent U.S. attorney and tied up a security guard late last Friday. The police report that 57-year-old Michael Jones, a Washington, D.C. attorney and Georgetown lawyer, that's a law professor, was staying at a beachfront villa when two masked men forced their way into the premises. The men tied up a security guard, and when confronted by Jones, they shot him. The gunman ran off with a laptop. The Serious Crimes Unit is leading the investigation, and officials in the Turks and Caicos are said to be providing support for the family of the victim. In a media statement on Friday, the police said robberies in the British Overseas Territory are up by 220%, although there has been a dip in overall crime during the first fiscal quarter. However, government, tourism and law enforcement officials maintain that the country remains a safe destination. And coming up in Caribbean Newsline, the Bahamas government taking steps to improve its doing business ratings. Stay with us, there's more news after the break.
Join the Caribbean Broadcasting Union and its regional and international partners at the CBU Annual General Assembly, August 21st through 24th at the British Colonial Hilton Hotel in Nassau, the Bahamas, under the theme Digital Developments in Caribbean Media. Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, Dr. the Honorable Hubert Alexander Minnis, will welcome delegates during the opening ceremony. Guyana's Minister of Public Telecommunications, the Honorable Kathy Hughes, will offer a keynote address on digital developments in the region. see the launch of the UNESCO-sponsored Manual of Social Media Guidelines for Caribbean Journalists, with guest speaker Jamaica's Director of Public Prosecutions, Paula Llewellyn. And hear from international media players about the new developments in digital television standards in Europe, the US, and Japan. And this year's Caribbean Broadcasting Awards Gala at the Atlantis Resort Paradise Island is not to be missed. Call 246-430-1007 to book your space in the 3-day conference and exhibition. Don't miss the CBU 48th Assembly at the British Colonial Hilton Hotel in Nassau from August 21st through 24th. Discounts on flights to the Assembly on the official airline, Caribbean Airlines.
Are you missing out? It's the summer of 60. Up to 60% off accommodations, travel, tours, and special deals. Plus, the music, the party, the vibes, the celebration of the 60th Carnival. It's the summer of 60. Yeah! Love Antigua and Barbuda. Antigua and Barbuda. The beach is just the beginning.
Take advantage of these special deals. Go to visit AntiguaBarbuda.com for more info.
The Bahamas government says it's looking to improve its doing business ratings. Finance Minister Peter Turnquest says the government intends to create a more positive and efficient tax system. He says it's critical that the current tax system be reviewed in order to strengthen administration and payment processes and diversify the tax base.
Anticipates that taking these steps will improve revenue collection, reduce inefficiencies and leakages, and ultimately create a tax system which is efficient and fair to all.
Minister Turnquest was addressing Rotarians of West Nassau this week when he noted that much of the decline in the ease of doing business is due to inactivity. He says countries around us are rapidly instituting changes and simplifying processes to make it easier.
And I can tell you, it is not that the Bahamas government is not performing based upon the platform that exists. But the problem is that those around us are making giant steps, utilizing technology, refining their processes, improving their way of doing business. And so they're leapfrogging us going forward while we've been stagnant just about and happy with the way we do things. In a global world that is moving quickly, that's just not going to work. And so we have to take a critical look at ourselves, look at our processes, look at the way we deliver services, and make some dramatic changes.
Now to news from our partners over at France Caribbean Broadcast. 7 cases of Gutera, a type of food poisoning caused by the consumption of fish contaminated by toxins, have recently been diagnosed in Martinique, and they all seem to come from frozen snapper caught in India. The product has already been pulled from supermarkets as a precautionary measure. We get the details in this special report.
The message is posted on the shelves of supermarkets in Martinique. Customers who have purchased frozen snapper from India are asked not to consume this product suspect of being responsible for food poisoning ciguatera. For 3 weeks, 7 people with the symptoms of the disease have been identified in Martinique, among them this resident of Fort-de-France.
I cut this fish. I ate it on the July 6th year with my husband at lunch, and a few hours later for bed. A bore in my stomach, the impression of having tickling in my hands, the head as if it were enclosed in a helmet, and then a sudden diarrhea.
Sometime later, her husband also felt the same pain.
I called SOS doctors because I would not have been able to drive up to my family doctor, and he came on site. When I explained to him some symptoms, including some that seemed characteristic, he guessed, he searched in his documentation, and he understood that it was ciguatera.
So a sample of the product under investigation is saved for analysis by the State Food Safety Services. Here we are at the level of the freight zone. We will go to one of the premises of our service, namely the border inspection station, where we have a laboratory where we can take samples. Conditioned frozen snapper is sent to a laboratory in France to demonstrate the presence of the toxin caused by the ingestion of this microalga by the fish.
The laboratory of reference for the research of toxins is the laboratory of the National Agency of Health, and which carries out its analysis on live animals. At the moment, one is somewhat impoverished at the level of the research.
Since the beginning of the year, 3 other cases of ciguatera have been diagnosed in Martinique, this time from consumption of fish bought in local markets.
And we thank our partners over at France Carré Broadcast for that report and encourage you to join us every Monday for news from the French West Indies. And ahead in Newsline Sport, the Windies captain says preparation ahead of the England tour is critical to the Caribbean side's success. Stay with us. Sport is next.
Years ago, we started greatness.
Now it's time to celebrate greatness. Antigua's Carnival 2017, July 28th to August 8th, celebrating great pageantry, mass, pan, calypso, soca, celebrating culture, celebrating the Caribbean's greatest summer festival, Antigua's 60th anniversary carnival, powered by Flow.
3, 2, 1, rah! This is Dynamite from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, inviting you to come out to the Caribbean Junior Monarch in Barbados, August 20th. Rah! Rah-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta! Rah! Rah-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta! Rah! Rah-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta! Breathe. When me touching at the place, rah! Everything is about sell off, rah! Make sure you be there. Don't miss that one. August 20th, Barbados. Breathe.
For more information, visit our website www.caribbeanjuniormonarch.com or follow us on Facebook and Instagram at the CJMC.
As West Indies begin tour matches in a matter of hours, Captain Jason Holder has urged his men to make the most of the next 3 games as they prepare to face England in a test series next month. The tourists face Essex in a 3-day contest on Tuesday and will follow up with matches against Kent from August 6 to 8 in Canterbury and against Derbyshire from August 11 to 13. The opening test will be a day-night affair beginning August 17 at Eggbaston. Holder says his men need to make good use of the matches on Tuesday and next week. He says it's important that batsmen spend some time at the crease and get accustomed to the conditions. Holder says critical to the success of the tour will be the squad's ability to play as a unit and build on recent encouraging performances against Pakistan. He said, and I quote, "The biggest thing is for us to gel as a side. We've preached family in the dressing room and we've planned a lot of activities to try and bring the group together. I've been seeing some wonderful progress. The last 2 test series were played against Pakistan have been a great success for us, although we didn't get the perfect results in terms of the overall picture. We saw many of the guys improve, and we can only ask the guys to continue in that vein, and once we do the small things well, we will get the end results we're looking for." End of quote. The series is expected to be a difficult one for West Indies, especially with the majority of the squad making their maiden test tour of England. In fact, of the 15-man squad, only opener Kieran Powell and pacers Kemar Roach and Shannon Gabriel have ever played a test there. 2 players, Kyle Hope and Raymond Reefer, are uncapped, while 6 others have played less than 15 tests. And despite West Indies women failing to perform well in the recently ended ICC World Cup, the team's manager believes there is a bright future for the team and young women cricketers in the Caribbean generally. The defending champions crashed out of the World Cup, finishing 6th after winning just 2 of their 7 games in the preliminary round. England eventually took the title But manager Anne Brown-John, herself a former player, says it was a learning experience and there is much to look forward to when it comes to women's cricket. At the same time, she says more needs to be done for the game for women in the region. Nasira Mohammed of C Sports has that story.
Tournament, the Windies women realized they were not as prepared as they should have been for the World Cup.
If you look at what happened in our regional tournament, we had a regional tournament just before that, a 50-over tournament. But in the regional tournament, a team can score 150 runs and win a game. In the World Cup, you have to score 300 runs to win a game. So I think that too, showed us that we have to be able to make more runs, have bigger scores, have longer innings, have better partnerships. So it was all learning for us. We see that where we are now and where we need to be.
Women's cricket is said to be the fastest growing sport, and the fact that Lord's was sold out for the final, with over 70 million watching on TV or online, shows the progress the women's game has made. Miss Anne is happy with the state the sport is in now, compared to when she wore the maroon.
When I looked at some of the comments that they were having on social media, I looked beyond the comments. What I looked at is the fact that there were so many people looking at the games because they were actually able to comment on things that had happened in the game. So I said, okay, this is positive for women's cricket, that so many people are now looking at a women's cricket match. And I think that, if we continue along that way, we'll continue to grow from strength to strength. I know the public is disappointed, and we are disappointed at, the results. But we take everything as a learning exercise.
But there are a few things she'd like to see done to help women's cricket continue growing and developing.
So I would like to see us have age group tournaments, just as we have for the boys to start have age group tournaments. That is where you get your development from. That's where you're going to get your players coming through. And then most of all, I want to see some more funding into women's cricket. If the corporate world can put some more funding into women's cricket, we will be able to do a lot more. We'll be able to have a lot more development tours and preparation tours. And maybe before you have a World Cup, go off and play a series against somebody that will better prepare you for the series that you're going to participate in.
Impressive half-centuries from Keegan Simmons, Emmanuel Stewart and man of the match Bhaskar Yadram underlined a strong West Indies under-19s batting display as they beat Zimbabwe under-19s by 70 runs to seal a 2-1 series win on Saturday. Sent in, the Caribbean side marched to a competitive 257 for 4 of their 50 overs at the Harare Sports Club, with opener Simmons top scoring with 89, Captain Stewart getting 76 and Yadram, the other opener, chipping in with 65. Simmons faced 130 balls and struck 6 fours, while Yadram, also voted man of the series for the second successive tour, counted 8 fours in his breezy 75-ball innings. In reply, Zimbabwe under-19 slumped to 52 for 4 in the 13th over thanks to an early burst from speedster Darren Ned and never really recovered, eventually dismissed for 187 in the 43rd over. Captain Liam Roach carved out 65 but was the only batsman to show any enterprise as no other batsman passed 20. Ned was who grabbed 2 wickets in his opening spell, finished with 4 for 33 overall, while Yadram collected a brace of wickets with his off-spin. 17-year-old seamer Jonathan Connolly was the best bowler for the Windies with 2 for 33. And there were draws all round in the second round of the Regional Under-19 Championships on Sunday. Raymond Perez grabbed the opportunity for a half-century as Guyana and Trinidad and Tobago played to a tame draw on the final of their second round match of the competition, which is underway in St. Kitts. With no outright results possible after TNT battled their way to 128 all out, Perez lashed a breezy 76 as Guyana ended on 118 for 2 in their second innings at St. Paul's. And in the other matches, Windward Islands captain John L. Eugene missed out on 100, while opener Kimani Melius stroked his second score above 50 in the game as Windward Islands and Jamaica played to a draw as well. Trailing by 15 runs after Jamaica racked up 353 all out in their first innings, the Windwards grabbed the chance for batting practice to stroll to 249 for 4 in their second innings on the final day. Guyanese Sachin Singh has been named to lead a 14-man West Indies Under-15 Invitational squad on a 6-match limited overs tour of England starting next month. The left-handed opener was among the leading scorers in last year's regional Under-15 championship and joins the likes of Barbadian batsmen Seth Agard and Matthew Ford, along with Trinidadian off-spinner Tariq Mohammed and Jamaican left-arm spinner Ravij Reddy, all of whom were top performers in the tournament. Mohammed and Reddy are currently involved in the ongoing 2017 edition of the regional Under-15 in Barbados. Cricket West Indies Chief Selector Courtney Brown said the tour was designed to prepare this age group for higher-level international cricket. The Under-15s will play a 35 overs aside match against Sunbury Academy at Sunbury Cricket Club on August 9 before taking on age group opponents in 6 50 overs game from August 9 to 20. Former Jamaica and West Indies batsman Robert Samuels will manage the side with former Windies seamer Corey Collymore and Rohan Nurse as coaches. The full squad is Sachin Singh, captain, Seth Agard, Samir Ali, Antonio Fernandez, Matthew Ford, Romain Jacob, Tariq Mohammed, Antonio Morris, Rajiv Reddy, Demetrius Richards, Jaden Seals, Garvin Saru, Lee Solomon and Taim Tong. Staying with cricket, Barbados Trident's captain Kieron Pollard hopes a fresh approach to preparation can pay dividends in the upcoming Caribbean Premier League and atone for a disappointing last season. Last year, the 2014 CPL champions managed a mere 3 victories to finish 5th and miss out on the final 4 as Jamaica Tallawahs beat Guyana Amazon Warriors in the final to claim their 2nd title. Pollard acknowledged they didn't get good starts and ended up playing catch-up cricket last year. But he says this year they've taken a holistic view of things, starting from scratch. Tridents were in camp in Barbados over the last week, and Pollard believes that that has been a vital part of their preparation, and he has laid the groundwork for a successful run. And while he said confidence in the squad is high, he also conceded that Tridents won't have things all their own way, especially with the season shaping up to be the most competitive in the history of the CPL. Tridents left Monday for Florida, where they opened their campaign against Tallawahs at Central Broward Stadium in Lauderdale next Saturday. And that's the sport. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
Ready. It's another episode when we out on the road. This is what we love to celebrate, to celebrate. This is not Hollywood. No, we don't come out the road. Drink, drink, drink. King Baba and the guitar. Hey, hey, hey. Every fact that I go, you keep on calling me wrong name. But that's okay, cause that's my babe. I don't understand how we're in a name tag on me. You know what to say, you still calling me wrong. Don't get vexed with me. Don't say that.
Do you want a real Barbadian experience with peace and tranquility? A home away from home feeling? Come and stay at Best E Villas. We offer 2 amazing locations to choose from, Prospect St. James or Christchurch. Plan a staycation for your anniversary, birthdays, summer or winter breaks, or any special event. Best E Villas is located in close proximity to our lovely beaches. Call us now at 246-425-9751 or visit us at bestevillas.com and make your booking for the best in villas.
Again, the major developments of this day: violence mars voting in the election of a constituent assembly in Venezuela that will be tasked with reforming the country's constitution. And in sport, the West Indies captain says preparation ahead of the England tour is critical to the Caribbean side's success. That's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sport around the clock, log on to CarnaNews.com. We'll be back here again tomorrow. But from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching and do have yourselves a good night.